this would work for them. It's searchable, and it's going to be the same throughout the project.
And do you use drop-down menus for things where there are just a few choices?
I'm glad you asked that. So here's a drop-down menu for the work elements.
I'm a straight guy. You're educated.
Because there are going to be a lot of work elements, and as you know, the last thing you want people to do is try to remember, is it 225 or 226? Which one am I supposed to be working on today? So we use drop-down menus as much as possible for things like contract numbers. I believe the QA/QC, well, it's one of the others, so we left it at that. But in an Excel, this was fairly easy to build. You just, at the back end of your template, you can set up a master sheet that has all of the data that you need to have pulled into your drop-down boxes, and you can set it up so it's controlled along with the Excel template, and it pulls in quite nicely. So it makes it a whole lot easier, and it's a whole lot easier than trying to decipher someone writing out what it would have been if it was handwritten. So to create the report, if you remember, there was an in-progress folder back in the SharePoint site. But where we start is the technician sets up to create a report, and what this does is it saves it to their hard drive in an in-progress folder that's been set up for them. At this point, it's an Excel document, and they can go into it, close it, reopen it, close it, reopen it, and work on it throughout the day. It's not in a situation yet to be finalized. We've given them some standardized paragraphs for certain inspections that they have to do. And again, that's partly for clarity for the client, so that they aren't having to go through and read different manners of reporting the same type of inspection that was performed. It's laid out the same so that they know, okay, what was the activity? It was field density testing. It was done on what type of thing? What is the methodology that was used, etc. And so it gives the technicians basically a good script on which to hang their work. They don't have to sit there and try to think up again, how is it I'm supposed to report this information? Because we have a standard operating procedure we get that says, remember, these are all the 20 to 25 things that you're supposed to enter in your daily field report. It makes it a whole lot easier for them if we can just say, we've got the language taken care of. What we need you to focus on is the passing or failure of the item that you inspected or tested, and if there were problems that arose or situations that the client needs to be made aware of. We also have the ability to apply a wet signature. You can do that either through the application of a JPEG or a PNG to the document. I think they were also experimenting with stylus on the pads to be able to have someone just write their name physically onto the electronic document.
That is in the Adobe electronic signature thing?
We do have that for later on. And this is because right now it's still a Microsoft Excel.
Right. Gotcha.
And when it comes to the signature here, the technician's signature just gives us traceability back to who did the test. For this particular project, what really matters is did the PD of record stamp for the report. That's what makes it approved as a test report. We also have the ability to, again, this is using the stylus tool as well as other things, to upload drawings or photos and go in with the stylus, and you can do markups of the drawing to indicate, well, here's where something was missing, or here's where they excavated to, etc. So it gives a lot of tools, again, where in the past someone might have freehanded this on a piece of paper, and then you've got to figure out, okay, how do I fit it into the overall report package, making sure that I do pagination, making sure that it doesn't have somebody's lunch sprayed all over it. How do I get it in so that it's nice and clean and known as part of the overall report? And so the template is, I should have illuminated this earlier, the template is not just one worksheet. It's typically we have a daily field report, and then there will be tabs behind it so that we're able to put together an entire workbook to cover everything. So to complete the report, we have a button when they open it up that says Complete Report and convert it to PDF. And so we're using a platform called Bluebeam rather than Adobe. And what it does is it saves it into PDF format, retrievable through Bluebeam, and uploads it to a completed reports folder that will then get, when they sync up, will go to the SharePoint site so that the review team can go in and look at the day's work and perform their reviews. And that way, once they hit that button, whatever they've got there is locked down. Now, they still have their Excel version if they need it, in the event that the reviewer goes through and says, hey, you made a mistake here, or I don't agree with this aspect of your narrative. So they can go back and do the corrections, but this way we get it locked down at that point in time and start turning it into a record.
Do you use it?
So to make corrections, does it version it?
Does it version it? It does not. And that's because the correction it'll come back through the review cycle, and that's because it will not be considered an approved record until it gets the approval signature and is considered a resident.
Do you use any GPS tagging? In particular, what you were talking about pulling up a diagram and writing on it, there is a possibility that they would write in the wrong place on the diagram. So you do use GPS tagging as they're going through the
I
process?
don't know if they're using GPS on that. That would be interesting to know. I know on several projects we've worked on, the GPS tags are done. They have yet another agency that comes out and does all of that, and we're just there to test and report, inspect and report. And often that's the case. And I think that may well be the case with here. That we're told where to go. Here's what we want you to look at, and we do our thing, and that's what we do. That's what we're there for.
Okay.
So again, drag and drop from the completed reports folder into the SharePoint drop library. And again, that an internet connection is required to sync. And so that's not just to sync up the reports at the end of the day and upload your work so that your supervisor can look at it, but it's also so we can do the check to make sure that your templates are current. And if there has been a new template, it gets uploaded. So in SharePoint, for the documents that are going to actually be looked at and reviewed, it is a controlled access drive. Only the project manager, the authorized discipline leads, who are other individuals who are given the responsibility and authority to do reviews, and our document controller, they're the only ones that have read-write access to that folder. Other people can get in and read, but they cannot make modifications, delete, change, whatever. In terms of the review of the content, again, the reviewer will go through it. If it's good, they will indicate that it's been reviewed. They've got a stamp that they can place digitally. And if it's bad, you reject it and return it with questions to be answered, and it basically kicks it back to the front end of the process. And you start again. They go into the template, they clean up the template, upload it, and look at it. So this is, in essence, the process. Work is done. The inspector completes their reports on the day that they did the inspections or tests. They get it uploaded to document control for processing. It takes about a half day. Depends how readily available an internet connection is, so they can get in and upload where they're working at. Manager review takes about a half day to 2 days. 2 days because if you've got something that gets uploaded on Friday, rarely you're going to get someone that's going to want to come in on Saturday and Sunday and look at inspection reports. You get that special person every now and then, not always. And then we get it published to the client's e-builder site in a half day. And what we found on this project is typically within 24 to 48 hours from the time of inspection, we have a finalized approved report in the client's e-builder site ready for them to look at and utilize. And that is a vast improvement over what I've seen on paper, where you could look at anywhere from 3 to 5 days, especially back when we were doing either transmittal of hard documents or even just faxing those reports in. So it's a massive efficiency saver in terms of the time for processing, especially if you can set up the data collection tools so that the individual doesn't have to come up with as many different types of ways of saying things for their narrative, decreases typos, bad sentence grammar, etc. Gives you a good package. Everything is then backed up onto SharePoint so that we've got our own copy as well as what we upload to the client, and that's something we've drilled into them. I've been on many projects where they'll say, well, we uploaded everything to ProjectWise, we don't need to